Welcome to Gulliver Town. I am Amila Skepe, and joining us today, it is Andrew Stewart, who is a passionate environmental advocate, an athlete, an adventurer, and a businessman at heart as well. Andrew, welcome to Gulliver Town. How are you doing, sir?
Amila, thank you so much for a very kind intro. And I'm doing fine. I'm trying to calm the nerves because it's not something that I do daily. So I'm so glad to be here and thanks so much for the invite.
Right, you're so welcome. Let's start off with your background. Tell us a bit about it and
Mm.
who Andrew authentically is.
So I was born on a farm up in Zanin in Limpopo
Mhm.
back in the late 60s. Ooh, feels like a long time ago. I grew up there, went to school in Pretoria, and then did some varsity in Cape Town at UCT.
Yes.
Then I traveled for a few years and went back and lived in Johannesburg.
Uh-huh.
And for my sins, I was stuck in Joburg for 17 years. But that's where I met my wife, and we got married and had one child. And when the child was school going age, I said to my wife, I can't do Johannesburg. It's time to go to a place that has a decent sort of environment for
Yeah.
bringing up children. So we made the decision to move down to Gqeberha, Port Elizabeth at the time. Yeah.
And what sparked your passion for environmental advocacy?
So growing up on a farm, I lived in a very natural, beautiful environment,
Yeah.
and I took it for granted. Then I moved to Joburg and didn't like the fact that there were too many people, too much litter, too much everything, too much
Mm,
smog. Then I moved down to Port Elizabeth at the time, and was fortunate enough to live on the sea, which is in the Schoenmakers Corp. So I had the first hand experience of seeing how beautiful the natural beauty is down here.
mhm.
And then I got involved in swimming, and I saw the amount open water swimming in the ocean, and I saw the amount of litter and the amount of destruction that us humans are causing
Yeah.
the environment. And that's when I think it was between the swimming in the ocean and the amount of waste that accumulates. I had an opportunity to go to the top of Arlington Waste site to go and do some research there, and saw the mountain of refuse that we as humans create daily. And that, together with the amount of destruction in the ocean, got me started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to do something.
Cool. And you were appointed as one of the judges for the Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism Awards last year. How did it feel to see your name on the list of judges?
No, when you feel somebody once said to me, I feel like I'm in somebody else's movie and not in my own movie. I got involved in the actual tourism industry by default. My business is borders on the periphery of tourism,
Yeah.
and I got involved in tourism probably in the early part of COVID, and I'll go into that just now. But effectively, so I haven't been in tourism for that long, although I love the Eastern Cape and I
Yes.
love Gqeberha, and I love what the potential here is. So it was easy to fall into tourism,
Hmm.
but I didn't really feel like I sort of deserved to be a judge on the tourism panel. However, when I saw it, obviously it's a huge honor, and
Yes.
I was so chuffed to be able to contribute and say my say. Yeah.
And speaking of your business, which is Perry Expo, what is it
Mm.
about and how did you find that particular gap in the market?
So, I mean, what I did is I I took a big risk. I came down to Port Elizabeth
Yes.
in 2007, having been in the exhibition industry, but I wanted to make a change, like a clean sweep. I wanted to change cities and change my industry.
Yeah.
However, they say in the books that you should stick to your knitting. So I eventually, after researching a whole lot of other business opportunities, I decided to start a business which is supplying exhibition infrastructure,
Okay.
which is what I did in Johannesburg for 15 odd years.
Hmm.
And I know the industry. And there was a gap in the market. I had been doing this in Johannesburg. I moved down here. I wanted to move away from it. Then I realized, hang on a second,
Mm.
there aren't many people offering these services in this city.
Yeah.
So I made some calls to friends of mine in the industry, and I got the equipment that I required. So we started up in 2009, Perry Expo,
Hmm.
just my wife and myself. And it's grown and grown and grown. And I'm happy to say that exhibitions, conferences, events that require our services are all growing. The only pain came with COVID because it's a very un-COVID friendly industry to be in. So for 2 years we had no work, but we survived, and we had to tell the story. And I must say that's what sort of kept me close to the tourism side of things, is being involved with conferences and expos. So yeah, I love the industry, and I think it's going places. We do need some more venues, some bigger venues. We need to sort of compete with the Joburgers and the Cape Townians, and I would love to kick their butts. But I think all in all, it's a very niche industry, but we are growing. Yeah.
Right. Andrew, what fuels your enthusiasm for exploring the outdoors in the Nelson Mandela Bay, whether it be sports or in a tourism perspective?
Okay, so going back to departing Johannesburg and
Yes.
arriving in Port Elizabeth at the time, I was your average couch potato. I did nothing. I was a slight. I enjoyed my open water swimming,
Yes.
but I wasn't fit, and I was a smoker, and I had to do something about all of those. So I started my open water swimming because I'd been swimming the mile and a few other swims. So I thought, well, here's the perfect place. We have a huge ocean,
Yeah.
and there's no limited space to swim in. So I started swimming the Ocean Racing Series, which happens during the summer months, every second weekend. And through that, they allow you to sort of build up your distances in the swimming. So I started doing that, and I really enjoyed swimming in the ocean, long distance. And through that, I've been able to get to do some really impressive swims, like swimming from Robben Island to Bloberg and swimming around Cape Point. So that's enabled me to do that. Then I started cycling because there's such amazing places to cycle down here. And once I had cycled a few long races, somebody said to me, well, you can swim a long way, you can cycle a long way. Why don't you do Ironman? And I said, no, I draw the line at swimming and cycling. I'm not a runner. Anyway, it took a few years, and just before my 50th, I decided to throw in the towel and give it a try. So in 2017, I did my first baby Ironman, the 5150. Then I did the half Ironman, and I did the full Ironman in 2017.
Man.
So that sort of set the stage for a bit more adventuring. And since then, obviously, when I started all this exercise, I gave up smoking, and so I'm a much healthier person. I'm going to live longer, thanks to the environment that I live in. I mean, if you live down here, you are exposed to such natural beauty that I often, when I'm swimming in the ocean or cycling in the sort of the Lady Slipper area, I think, why aren't there more people? Everybody should take advantage. I mean, it's free. I mean, you can swim in the ocean for free. You can cycle if you've got a bike for free. So I'm always amazed at how much there is available here to do. So, and as you get older, I realize that there's a limited time. So you must try and fit in all these things. That's why I enjoy it.
When I was looking at your socials, I saw a couple of medals up your sleeve as well in a box.
Yeah, well, anybody who does anything knows that you get medals for anything here. You run a little 5K race or a 10K race, and they give you a medal. So over the years, there were just so many medals that and you can't keep them all. They eventually take up your whole room. So I put them in a box, and earlier this year, I decided, no, it's time to donate these to somebody. And there was a guy who's a lifesaver who does swimming coaching for little people, little kids, and he wanted to use them to give to the kids as medals. And I thought, no better way to do it. So
Cute.
yeah.
Speaking of the sea, tell us about your role at the up and coming Algoa Bay Whale Festival on the 1st of June.
Yeah, so that's one of my sort of soft spots I have. I've known Lloyd Edwards from Raggy Charters for years, through tourism, weirdly enough. So everything's interlinked: the environmental issues, tourism, and the Whale Festival now. So back 5, 6, 7 years ago, when Lloyd approached me, I said I can help him with the Whale Festival, which was then at Pine Lodge, and we helped them with the exhibition side of things because we do expos. And so I sponsored and I assisted, and then we moved the Whale Festival about 3 years ago to the Willows. And every year we just seem to get better and better and better. So my input is basically to assist with the layout of the actual festival and to do the exhibition side of things. So we do all the stalls inside, we do the stalls outside, electrification, and then I just help Corin from Raggy and the guys who are organizing it to put it together.
Yes.
And it's not something I charge for. It's like a passion. So it's my one do good a year where I just give of my time. Obviously, there are some costs involved, but it's one of the things I enjoy doing because there is nothing nicer living next to the coast than seeing those whales during the whale season, and people need to know more about it.
That's amazing, man. And lastly, before I let you go, Andrew, where do you see the environmental sector as well as the tourism sector in the Nelson Mandela Bay evolving in the next years?
Well, without getting into a long speech about the potential of Nelson Mandela Bay and what is available here, it is incredible. I mean, environmentally, we are one of the very few places in the country with as many biomes as we have. You've got big five wildlife on our doorstep. You have whales, dolphins, sharks, everything. You literally are. You have the best of all worlds. And I often, people compare it and say, but you're not Cape Town, you don't have a mountain. But honestly, if you just dig a slightly bit deeper, we have as much, if not more, to offer on the environmental and the tourism front.
Yes.
We have to watch that we don't let our municipality and those that are supposed to be leading our city let it go too far, because we all know, without being funny, that there are challenges, and we need to fix those, because some of these environments that we look after, they need looking after, and without the right leadership, we can lose some of those things, like the penguins on St. Croix Island. If we don't start pushing against all the bunkering and the things that are happening via the government and the city, we will lose the penguins on St. Croix. So there's a lot of hard work for environmentalists and tourism operators to come together, put our heads together, and stand up and be counted, so that we can pressure those, not necessarily in Nelson Mandela Bay, but in government as well, just to make sure that the tourism and the environment aren't forgotten when they start industrializing and getting the economy going again.
Right. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us on Girl About Town. It was indeed an informative conversation and an educational one as well. So thank you. We appreciate the work that you do.
It's a pleasure, and thank you so much for having me.